shall we? Later on in the show, because I'm sure everybody wants to know what's really going on with that. I guess it's good for track and field, good and bad. But I mean, I'm sure as time unfolds, we'll hear more.
Conflicting arguments, you know, from
we're hearing
both
a lot of stuff coming out in the media. I'm sure you guys heard a lot of stuff as well as us. But later on, we'll dive into that. Also, I mean, highlight of the day for me today, EPL, City and Chelsea repeat a Champions League final. Played a tough, good match, evenly contested, with City coming out victors, 1-0.
City was the favorite, right?
It was pretty even. Pretty even. I mean, winning 1-0, 2 KG teams in terms of letting in goals. So, a 1-0 victory for City and away victory as well.
It is a big victory that I've been touting up Chelsea whole week.
Chelsea is one of the title favorites. I mean, the table is
close at the top with the 4.
With the top 4 winning to form. So again, Man U losing to Aston Villa at home. Well, we all know who were the favorites in that match. But the highlight of that match was who took the penalty in the last part of the match. I mean, a lot of Cristiano fans saying that Cristiano should have taken the penalty.
Wow. Yeah.
So later on in the show again, with our callers, remember, you can call later on the show after 1:30. Number is 1-876-552-7406. On WhatsApp only. And today we have a guest speaker.
We will have the big man himself, you know, the president of the Jamaica Table Tennis Association will be joining us in about a few minutes' time. We're going to discuss the whole environment of table tennis and what's happening of late, you know.
Yeah, we want things to get back to normal with the whole nature of the whole pandemic. And, you know, we're big on table tennis, so we want to know what's going on there.
Yeah, and there's a lot of controversy as well in the table tennis so far, you know.
Yeah,
we're leaving from one administration coming into our next, and it's almost the same kind of thing happening. Yeah. So we'll have to address that with the big man himself, the new boss in charge, Angelo.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, but in terms of sports, my highlight was Lamar Jackson and the Ravens taking down the Kansas City Chiefs with Mahomes.
You're big on NFL.
Yeah, exciting match Sunday, man. That was his first. That was his first victory against Mahomes.
Yeah.
You know, 36-35. Boy, you saw that 4th down call with about 21 seconds to go. You know, the coach asked Lamar, should we go for it or should we play safe and give back the ball to Patrick?
Go for it.
And Lamar said, hell no. Let's go for this on 4th down. You know, so I thought I think that can change the season. You know, those kind of plays can change the season for a team like the Ravens, who went down went down in the first in the opening.
Yeah.
Came back 1-0, so you know they probably can kickstart them a little bit.
Yeah.
They have an easy match this week against Detroit. Yeah, but we want to welcome now. Let's cut that shot. I want to welcome now the big man himself, the man in charge of table tennis in Jamaica, the president, Mr. Angelo. I want to welcome you to Primal Sports Talk.
Yeah, man. Good afternoon, Dale, and good afternoon, Kane. It's my pleasure to be here.
Yeah, man, definitely. Yeah, to kick things off out there, table tennis in Jamaica. I mean, so far, you have had a short tenure and the climate of all sports across the world with the pandemic, but looking forward for table tennis. What's in store for table tennis?
Well, you have to understand the situation is very dynamic, you know. It changes very, very regularly depending on what the Prime Minister have to say on a weekly basis or bi-weekly basis. So it's kind of difficult for us to plan. One thing is sure, that we have a lot of work to do. We have to make sure that we have table tennis being played locally as best as widespread as possible. And so we have to look at ways of get squads in training and have the various clubs operating at their fullest capacity possible so that we can get the level of our game on the move going forward.
Yes, that's it. You know, table tennis has been blowing up over social media over the past week about players from the 80s and the 70s and the blah, 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 who is better than who. And, you know, I made some comment in terms of the environment back in the 80s and the 70s is much, it's different from now.
It's very different, a whole lot different.
Yes. And back then in those days, you could have walked into the bar and see a table tennis table and man a train, the fire station, the churches, everywhere you turn, you used to have somewhere to play. So I'm of the view that the sport is not as accessible to people to play now. So that's hampering the level of play within the country. So what is association is going to do about that? Oh.
Well, what we have to try and do is look at getting table tennis being a popular sport again, where people will feel motivated to put up a board at their business place or place of work, so that employees and recreational users can use it for exercise, and also the serious people who are looking to perform at a higher level will be able to go into places where the sport is being taught properly and develop their skills at an international level. What we have a lot of work to do. We have to put a lot of work into getting our club system up and running again. But again, with COVID, we don't know how soon that will be. But we have to devise ways and means to get the sport being played at a competitive level, at different levels, starting from not just the age group competitions, but the different, like Division 3, 2, 1, and even Super League.
Yeah. Yes.
One thing I would like to dub myself as probably the youngest veteran, because right now I'm in the stage of a career now where I'll be considered. Sorry. Yeah. So to bridge the gap, as they said, between players. Interference here. Sorry about that. Yeah. So as Dale was saying, the model of table tennis from the 70s and 80s and the nature of the sport now is different, because, as I said, why I do myself that I have connections not only locally to people who have played the sport across all these generations, not only locally but internationally, and I've seen where the model has changed. Oh,
we're getting a feedback here. Are you hearing us?
You're going in and out.
Sorry about that. I have some technical difficulties, but I think it's sorted out now. But yeah,
I'm hearing you better.
as I was saying, the model of table tennis has changed over the decades. And where, as I've seen, I've been playing table tennis for the past 20 years, and I've been under different associations, and I've seen where we have not changed with the times in terms of how the sport is presented in other regions. For example, Dominican Republic and the Spanish-speaking countries. And where we were competitive back then with these countries, we are not so as competitive now. And I've seen where I've been to these countries, and I think that the association can look where they can model off their success and what they are doing in terms of what we can do. Because back then, one thing we're not short of is talent. We know this. You are past player now coming back into the sport, and I've spoken to past players, and they still think that table tennis is just play and then you just sort of get the best and they play and compete. But now there's a science to the sport. People travel and in camps, and there's some sort of, there's professionalism on a high level in the sport versus what was then back in the day.
Yeah.
So to compete these players that were playing in leagues in Europe, competing for a living, earning honest bread from it, where table tennis is at highest a semi-professional sport in Jamaica. So going forward, I think the association should somewhat try to model off these countries or take from it what they can and try to develop. So I would say, what is your stance on that? And to become, as I said, competitive nature? Because I'm in my twilight of my career where I'm going up, and I want to give back to the sport as well. So I would want to help in my sense, but then again, I'm still playing. But you are the man in charge, and I'm just trying to give advice and trying to get feedback from you as well.
Well, definitely. There's a lot of collaboration that will have to take place. With Jamaica being at the level where it is now, we have to gravitate towards like Puerto Rico and the Dom Rep, just in the region. So what I'll have to do is collaborate with the president of the Puerto Rican Federation and the Dom Rep to see how we can partner with getting teams in camp in the different locations, bringing some of their players here on like an exchange basis for a month or so. And
yeah. Okay.
The truth is, at this point, there's a lot of work that needs to be done to get our players to a level where they'll be competitive internationally. So locally, there's a lot of work to be done.
Yeah, and touching on a little of what Kane was saying, you know, I think that sometimes we're still using the old methods of the 70s, and we're always talking about the 70s and 80s.
There's a major problem of past associations.
And this and that about the 80s and 70s, and not realizing that things and times is a different time now.
Different climate to the sport. Different nature of our competitors, because they're doing stuff different and playing at a professional level.
Yeah, so you can't do what you did you can't carry what you do in the 70s and 60s and try to implement that in 2020. You know, it's like you're talking about. Yeah, so I think we'll have to modernize ourselves, and not just in the thinking.
Yeah, in the thinking as well.
In the thinking. Well, it is the thinking, we should say. Mm-hmm. You know, because I've seen where we're still kind of playing even the old style of table tennis somewhat, right here in Jamaica. Mm-hmm. You know, so we need to kind of get out of that old time thing and focus on what is actually happening now in the present. You know, you look at, as Kane said before, and you look at Puerto Rico. These kids basically they go to school, but they specialize in certain subjects. They have a table tennis school in Puerto Rico.
Yeah.
Where these kids, they're playing 7 and 8 hours per day. Dominican Republic is the same thing. So we can't keep talking about talent and 2-3 hours a day or 6-10 hours a week. That's not good enough. You will never get there. You'll always try. So
always behind the 8 ball with our immediate competitors. Yeah. So and that's the nature of the sport all across the world.
And it has changed. I can tell you this, maybe in the 70s and 80s, you guys, Jamaica and Dom Rep were competing somewhat on a level playing field. No, the field is not level now. In terms of what we have here and what they have there. It's a big difference. You know, those kids, a matter of fact, the Panam just finished and the kids from Puerto Rico, they're in Sweden now. Our kids come back here and at home, not training.
And we don't even have a home.
Exactly.
It is clear that to be able to launch the sport in Jamaica to a different level, we need a base. We need an academy where the athletes, as you said, can be housed and fed a daily diet of hours of table tennis, complemented by their academics, of course. You know, so I was kind of thinking of this football academy in I think it's in St. Anna, Trelawney, that I'd love to be able to, you know, model a table tennis academy of it, so that, you know, the athletes would be able to focus on table tennis at the same time, not leaving behind their educational pursuits. Because one of the things that I believe that is necessary is to be able to provide a roadmap for educational pursuits, right from high school all the way up to tertiary level for all our athletes.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, because I said that would provide incentive for them and have them have sort of professionalism to the sport.
Right.
I mean, as I said, with our competitors, it's tough. And next thing, I've been to these places, they have infrastructure, they have facilities where they play. Mm-hmm. There's a home for table tennis. There's like a camp, a center where people can come and play. And I said, looking forward, table tennis in Jamaica needs that.
Yeah.
We need a home.
That would be the biggest boost to the sport right now, for us to be able to find a base. We can put at least 8 boards, but up to 12 or 20 boards.
It's a start if there's 4 going to 8 to 12, but these places have a center, have a home, and it's not rented where you have to take up the tables, put it up, and then when it's time come and play for an hour or 2, And then, you schedule every Wednesday. The place is open and available to them 24 hours a day, only for table tennis, strictly for table tennis. And I mean, as I said, that would be a big boost to the sport.
Right.
Yes, Andrew, is there any plan for our senior players that's maybe on the way out, in terms of bringing them into the system, in terms of the association, the system itself, to kind of pass on experience?
So like retirement, it's like he wants to retire.
Are you putting anything in place for those type of players, the players at the senior level who's looking to make that transition maybe to administration or coaching, just to give back?
Well, definitely, I would love for the senior players to get involved with coaching. I myself, as soon as the ITTF certification programs are started back, I am going to start from the bottom, doing the level 1 certification, so that I myself can help out at that level. Even if I'm not doing it, then I'll have the technical expertise and the certification to be able to do it if I want to. And that's what I'd love for all our past players to be able to give back in some way, not just to retire from the sport and just be talking from the sidelines. We want them to be there coaching or at an administrative level, or trying to be ambassadors for the sport, to creating linkages between using their relationships that they have formed over the years to gain some form of benefit to the sport, and also to give their input at a committee level, be part of a development committee or a coaching committee, or a player, even as a players committee, so that they can have a voice and have a way in the direction that the table tennis will go.
Yeah.
Because I believe the experience that Simon and Kane have garnered over the past couple of years is invaluable, and we haven't even begun to tap into that yet.
Because I myself learned from players from the past as well. Peter Young, Stephen Hilton, Sancho Reti was coming up. I mean, if it wasn't for people like these, I wouldn't be where I am now. And I hope to be in that position where I can give back as well, because that would mean a lot. I mean, table tennis is all a part of us, and I don't want to be absent from the sport at no point in time, whether I am playing or not. And I mean, it's not all about me, because I've been given a lot. I hope to give even more and let the sport grow. As I said, a players committee will be brilliant. Not everybody will agree or have the same point, but where we can gather information and try to better the sport.
Yeah. And Kane and Mr. President, and even outside of just the coaches, these young players, they need mentors.
Yeah.
They need that. It's not just about the coach alone. They need like a Kane Watson to take up a kid that you coach and say, listen, I'm going to help you with this kid. You need a Simon, you need a Peter Muyo, you need whoever the senior player, Christopher Marsh. So we have to it's not just about the coach, but it's also about the senior players helping out the juniors, being the mentor.
That's an excellent point. As a young player, I would love, if I was like a 13-year-old player, I would love if Kane would come to me and say, Andrew, come knock up with me 2 or 3 times a week. I'll make sure, see if we can block 2 of my loop and, see how we can get some table work in, go through some drills and explain certain techniques and so on. That would be awesome, for the young players coming up.
Also, having a facility would garner that. Because I mean, now, where can I see a 13-year-old kid or see 10 13-year-old kids and I'll be like, Mr. President, I like that one. I want to play with that one 2 times a week, because I see where myself in him and I can pass it on. And then it will be different for Dale. I see a next 13-year-old and be like, all right. And that would come from having a facility, having kids there.
That you have access to.
And I said 24/7, or I mean, you have closing hours between midnight and early morning. I'm saying where the tables are just there. You don't have to come out, put up tables and all of that. A space designated for table tennis.
Yeah, something like that will, Kane, like that will definitely increase the rate of improvement of the youngsters. It's not just the coach, as I said. The coach and the senior players have to work together in order to help.
Even they've seen us play.
Yeah.
Like there's a table one, and they see me and Simon at table one, and kids just sit down and watch and be like, oh, you can do that? Yeah. Oh, you see that shot? Because that was for me growing up in the sport, where at Kingston College, the likes of Dale, Gavin Hilton, Dale Strand, as a young 12-year-old just coming into the sport, 13-year-old. I used to just go in the room, sit and watch them. Now, I've seen so many things now in table tennis. I'll be like, I used to play in that room. I used to lob the ball that high. And I look back and I'll be like, how Dale used to lob in that room. And that's just one tables in that small facility. And to me, that was an eye-opener. And I stopped playing football, I stopped playing basketball. And I mean, I had a career in table tennis. So that was my calling. And if it wasn't for them or seeing them in that room or having a group of people to stand up and watch, I learned to lob from Dale. I learned to serve from Gavin. I learned to push shot from Darrell. And I took that knowledge from all those players. They didn't know. I didn't necessarily go to them, but I just sat and watched them. I'm like, yo, they can't do that. You can't do that.
Yeah.
But that was the environment. And then that's why Casey always ahead, because the talent level just kept on passing down.
Yeah.
So imagine on a larger scale in the nation where I can see kids from our schools. I mean,
and I can tell you, I learned to love by the first time I saw Michael in the arena, 1995.
Yeah.
And I said, wow, this man had bat the ball way up in the ceiling. I said, my God, I didn't know the ball. Could I do that to the ball?
So I mean,
and I went back to school and right away I started practicing.
But now the junior players can't see me play, and I can't see them play.
There's nowhere.
And most importantly, you need to be competing against each other and letting them have the experience of playing with the older guys, so that they will be able to get those skills. Yeah.
And Kane just mentioned something again. When we're structuring tournaments, I think that we should ensure that the kids get to see the senior players play. Yeah. Just like I went to tournaments and I saw Michael because I had the finals to play in the evenings. I was forced to stay and watch the big guys play, and I learned from that. But over the past 6 to 7 years, the juniors play on one day and the seniors play on another day.
And the juniors don't come back on the next day.
And all the trophies are handed out and at the end of the first day, and then so the juniors don't have to come back the next day. So I think that we need to merge it. We need to somewhat merge it to kind of help.
Yeah. Because I've had people.
That's true, but there's also some of that responsibility has to rest on the players and the parents as well. Because if I'm not competing on Sunday, but I want to see Kane play, I'm going to come regardless of whether or not I'm playing or not.
Some kids, parents don't. They'll be like, oh, I'm not going to drop off my son on Sunday because I can't bother to. Or the kids be like, yeah, mommy, I don't want to go. I finish playing and win.
Yeah.
But if they're playing on the Sunday, they have to be there.
Yeah.
The parents have to drop them off. They have to watch.
I think sometimes, especially in these times, I think sometimes we need to kind of give a force in hand, kind of help, kind of steer it in a way to force them in a friendly way to get what we want, So I really think that we'll have to kind of mix it a little bit more because trust me,
that's a good point. So what we could do, we could do the groups for the open event on the Saturday and do the semifinals for the junior events on Sunday. So we have a balance. Mm-hmm.
Yes, I mean, the players committee, as you said, would help all of this.
Yeah.
Because I've had people come up to me and they say, they know that I play table tennis. And they come to me and be like, you know a kid named, any random name, Dale Parham. And they'll be like, no, I don't know. So how you don't know him and he's the under-15 champion? And
that's true.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know the under-15 champion.
Yeah.
Just like how the under-15 champion might not know me. And I find that I'll be like, how can you play table tennis and don't know who the top player or players in the island
But that's an excellent point, because one of the things we've been discussing too is also having the rated events where you're not restricted by gender or age. You just play so that, the players will have to come to the fore and, bring their best game. And so you'll have the talent pool and the talent in the female section playing against the males. So their level will also rise and the junior level will also rise. And then we'll be able to get a better level of competition out of everybody.
Okay. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about marketing. Because we're gonna need sponsorship and all of these things in order to even build a home and so forth. Do we have any sponsors on board currently? Or
Well, I really,
a resident sponsor? Mm-hmm.
We have to say that our most loyal sponsor over the years, and especially recently, is Optical Solutions. And I want to take some time out to give thanks and big up Optical Solutions. They're always there in some way, shape, or form, and they're one sponsor that we can always count on to be there for us. We also like to recognize the Sports Development Foundation and the Ministry of Sports. We know it's called Ministry of Culture, Gender, Entertainment, and Sports, but sometimes it's too long to call out all of those different, that long name. So we just say Ministry of Sports, Minister Babsy Grange, right? But we know that those are sponsors that we can rely on. And going forward, what we're going to do is we're going to make sure we have our development plan and our strategic plan on paper with organizing ourselves properly so that we can give our budget and our development plans early. Hopefully by the end of September here, we'll have those ready to give them to the GOA and the STF and to say, partner with us in making this happen. And one of the main things on our plan is to have a home for table tennis. And this, I think, is the catalyst that will propel the sport of table tennis forward. And so we'll have to now find a way how we can get a site and get a purpose-built facility for table tennis going forward. Maybe it won't happen this year or next. Well, it can't for this year again. It will happen next year, but especially, we definitely will have to put something in place to get that happen. Corporate Jamaica right now, I can tell you, everybody's feeling the pinch. And it's very hard to commit to a sport or an event where you don't have any spectators present. So it's a hard sell now, but I'm sure that as we go forward and we get over this COVID thing little by little, then we'll be able to get more sponsors on board. Okay.
Well, have any idea, any site of any area that you might want to try to attain to build on or anything? You've been looking?
One of the things I've had discussion with another sporting association, just an introductory conversation, is to partner with another sport to share a facility where we won't share the same indoor space, but we'll share like a facility where their sport will be mostly outdoors and we are indoors. So we're looking at maybe using some space at Independence Park, because that area where Mass Camp is, there's a lot of space there that you could, properly develop. So the sport, we could build a table tennis facility there. But we'll also look at other possibilities. We can partner with I was thinking maybe partnering with a school, kind of like what MVP does with UTEC, or, up by UWI, that has space that we could partner with to build a facility. But, that is going to take a lot to partner with established entities like those,
Yeah, we can have multiple venues. That's a great idea, Mr. President. What's next for table tennis in terms of tournaments or traveling or overseas tournaments? What's next?
Well, the ITTF calendar for 2022 has not been published yet. I haven't received it. So it's kind of hard for us to plan. What we know is that the Caribbean Championships will be held in Cuba. We don't know exactly when.
That's next year, right?
Next year. Next year.
So there's nothing on our calendar for this year. No more tournaments, anything planned for this year?
There are no more regional tournaments for this year. You have nothing local. We have Senior Pan-Am Championships going on in November, but we haven't qualified for that as a team. And we're not sure. Let me say that Kane and Simon have qualified to play in the singles for that event. And that is a qualifier for the Worlds for 2022, right? But I'm not sure where we are with that yet. And I'm still looking at the feasibility of that, you know, as well as the athletes themselves will have to have an input in it as well. And of course, that will require sponsorship again and all of that, which is really hard to come by at this time.
Yeah. Okay, boy. Andrew, we run out of time, but thanks for coming on.
You know, you're always welcome to Primal Sports Center. We'll have more table tennis stuff for sure.
Obviously.
You know.
I had a question for you, but I'm going to hold it until next time.
but let me just say this, that as you have rightly said, is that table tennis, now especially with the expansion of Pan Am, where you have our Pan Am region stretching from Canada all the way down to the tip of South America, it is more difficult now for us to qualify for world events and especially Olympics. So even now, if we had a Garfield Jones or a Stephen Hilton or a Michael Hyatt, no, it would be more difficult for them now to qualify for the Olympics, even if we had those in our camp. So that just goes to show the amount of work that is required at this point to get our crop of players ready to compete for a spot at the Olympics in France 2024. But we're equal to the task.
Boy, you just said something a while ago about Garfield and boy, I have two questions for you now, but I'm going to hold it until next time.
All right, sure. Okay.
Thank you very much for coming on.
All right, thanks, Mr. President.
Okay, all right, man, no problem.
Thank you very much. No,
all right.
It's time. Sports coming through with the controversial man himself.
Controversy boss.
Yes.
Peter, take it away.
Peter.
Good evening, viewers. Good afternoon. I don't have that much controversy this week, considering how controversial the entire week has been. I think athletics is going to produce a lot of that, but I'll leave some of that until later. For now, I'd like to talk about, first of all, everybody has a lot of talk about sports these days. And you guys, I want to announce the formation of Primal Sports Center on Facebook. You can go in Facebook group and just join Primal Sports Center. Let us have your feedback. Let us talk about sports. Kian and Dale will be your moderators there, and we're always looking forward to entertain your arguments about sports because 1 hour is simply not enough. All right, so let me start off first. Poor Chris Gayle. Chris Gayle is getting a fight left, right, and center. A lot of people are complaining about his selection, and I just have one thing to say. When people rise to the top and they're cream of the crop and you're good, you tend to come good on the big occasions. World Cup is coming up. I think it's coming up in cricket, and Chris Gayle has been selected for that team. I believe that the people who selected him, including the organizer of the sports at the event, want to see Chris Gayle. I want to see what the big man will do. It's not the time to break an unknown at that point. It's time for Chris. So Chris deserves a chance, and the man has a history of coming good when he deserves to come good. Give the man a chance. Chris Gayle is just 1 day older today than he was yesterday. I don't know why they're rushing the man yet. All right, so let me move on now. You know, I have an issue with, you know, we're an empathetic society and we care a lot about people and, you know, it's good to be caring. But let me tell you something. When I go and watch a sports event, I'm not telling you to shut up and dribble, but I'm telling you it's time to see some performance. I'm not about feeling sorry for Naomi Osaka because she needs to be nursed or powdered because she psychologically can't handle the pressure of being a sports person. Simone Biles, right? You want to compete in 8 events and come home as the darling of the Olympics and all that. Pressure comes with it. These are pressure events. Now we're having these people pulling out of events because they can't handle the pressure. And I must feel sorry for them. I'm sorry, I don't feel sorry for you. The spotlight is hot. The kitchen is hot. If you can't stand the heat, please to leave the kitchen. That's how I see the thing. And the last thing I want to talk about now is about the big man, the great Usain Leo Bolt. Why in the Lord's holy name is Usain Bolt getting involved to give free advice to Sha'Carri, what's her name? Sha'Carri, what's her name, is a has-been, don't even achieve nothing yet. Usain Bolt Sir Usain Bolt, the chief spokesman of sports. We're not questioning his right to get involved in any cascas. But there's a cascas going at a certain level between Sha'Carri and the Jamaican runners. We go back and we beat them 1, 2, 3. Sha'Carri out of the picture, we stop talking. Usain Bolt go get up in the mix-up and the blender to say things about that you stop talk and go train and all that. She can get that advice from anybody. Why is the honorable diplomatic passport Usain Bolt getting involved in that cascas? No, Sha'Carri gone now and clap back at the big man, right? Reduce it to a skirt lifting contest. You don't want Usain Bolt to lift his skirt. Nor do you want, what's his name, Caster Semenya to lift his skirt, because you might have a surprise. But Usain Bolt should not have gotten involved in this thing. I believe that if the man is a diplomat and he's a big man, don't get involved in this little thing, man. Table tennis have 3 big men run the thing. Kane Watson, we all here at the table. Why in Jesus' name? We're busy in any small man talk. We're bigger than that. Usain, you's bigger than that. I hope you're taking my advice. Don't get involved. Puss. What? All right. What say you? See you on Primal Sports Group on Facebook. That's the place to be.
And do remember Colleen's number again? 1-876-552-7406. And that's on WhatsApp only.
Want to welcome our track and field analyst, Daniel Dowie.
Daniel, are you with us?
Boy, Peter, boy, you come out again, man.
I tell you.
Boy, the Chris Gayle issue, boy. You know, we need to stop force the athletes them out.
Sorry, guys. Yes, I'm here. Sorry.
Welcome, Daniel. Welcome.
I mean, well, Peter left us with some controversy.
I don't know why he said all of that and then ran away.
He'll be back. He's too far.
Yeah, the Chris Gayle issue first. What do you think about it? But I have my opinions though.
But I mean,
in terms of
if he's still at the top play, no matter what age you are.
And not only that, you know, Chris Gayle, the international body want Chris Gayle. Like, you know, Chris Gayle full the stands. Yeah. You know, so
put
it might
fans in the stands.
Yes.
Entertainment is key in sports. So.
Yeah, man. You know, Chris Gayle already.
And he's not
worshipped around. It's not. It's still good.
Yeah.
Still good. So
I mean, the nature of the sport, he's out there for a long period of time, over 5 days. I mean, short quick innings. That's what T20 is about.
Cricket is a big belly man sport anyway. It's big belly. Me stay on the pitch. So the problem is a man is 50 and him still want to play cricket.
No, if he's still good.
If he's still good, of course, Chris is still good.
If he's not good, he shouldn't play. I mean, if you're 18 and not good, don't play.
Yeah.
If you're 48 and you're good, you play.
I
mean, if you can play and you're still, the best out of the crop, then play.
Plus, you full the stands. The fans come to see you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And you have to entertain.
Yeah. The selectors came under some pressure, man, because they left him out of the original squad, you know. And you know them had to get a phone call.
Chris Gayle always have that smile on his face. No. When time come.
Of course.
The people them want him out there. Universal boss. So
yeah. Don't push them out too early.
Yeah. But not before the time, because it's not too early, but not before the time.
So Daniel, what's your take on that?
If you're too early, what do you think of this age?
Does age really matter?
I think as long as you're delivering and he has the experience and he's proven himself, he's proven. So everybody knows that what he's capable of, what he brings to the table. So if they're trying to get him out, I would assume it's for a reason other than performance, because they know that he would deliver in that area. So I can't speak to what other reasons they want him out. But in terms of performance, I think his track record speaks for itself.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course. I know we'll touch a little bit on Osaka and Simone Biles, you know. What's your thoughts on that as well?
I mean, coming on the mental...
Well,
in terms of both of them quitting, you know. I call it quitting, but let me hear your opinion.
I call it withdrawing, but
withdrawing.
Well, I think it's very difficult to hear somebody say, Peter, to hear somebody say that somebody like Simone Biles and Naomi Osaka that have achieved so much that you can because they pull out at a different event that you can now say that they're weak, after it takes an enormous amount of strength and confidence and courage to accomplish and be where they are right now, for them to have the opportunity to pull out and raise awareness to a major issue. So I don't think it's a case where they couldn't handle it. I think it's a case where they just decided that, okay, I'm going to bring attention to this. I think that if they wanted to, they could have easily stayed in and handled it. They've done that before. And for Naomi specifically, you guys can help me out with this one. When she first beat Serena Williams in that final, she did that under a lot of boos and a lot of Serena's theatrics and spoiled racket throwing and smashing. And Naomi endured all of that gracefully, still credited Serena as her idol. And she went on to have a lot of success after that. So if she comes now and say, okay, I've had enough, I don't see what's wrong. And I wouldn't define her as weak.
It's the way she did it, you know.
Do you think athletes owe the fans have an onus where, because I mean, if you go to play lawn tennis now, and a young 12-year-old girl is a big Naomi Osaka fan and she pulls out, do you think that athletes owe the fans to go out there and perform? I mean, they're idolized, they earn so much money. I mean, although they're going through their personal stuff.
Yeah,
do you think,
essentially the fan,
she's in the limelight and she has...
You do want to deliver to your fans, but you owe yourself more. You owe yourself your mental health. You have to take care of yourself first. And if she believed that in that moment that she needed more care and attention, a lot of times athletes go out there with not feeling their 100 and deliver for their fans and for people watching at home and all of that. But sometimes you have to put yourself first, and you can't you can't blame somebody when they decide that it's time to put myself first. Because there are a lot of cases when and instances when we put other people first.
Yeah, that's true. Self is number one for sure.
But I think Naomi Osaka was ranked 255 in the world with a career earnings of $10,000
She wouldn't pull out.
Would you think she'd pull out?
No.
And she's in the prime of her life.
No.
In tennis and going through mental stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think she would continue or she'd stop?
She would continue.
But she's making a lot of money now, getting a lot of sponsorship. On top of the game, she's pulling out now.
Yeah.
Versus if she wasn't at top of the game, haven't earned as much as she's wanting to break through in the sport.
Yeah.
And going through those mental issues, because I'm sure mental issues don't just pop up.
No.
And I mean, to me, when I go through all of us are human beings. I'm going to go through our mental thing that, to me, playing the sport helps me take away from distraction. I just go out there, I take it out on the ball, but that's personal for me. Yeah. I blank out and I just want to play. It's like my mind is free and I'm relaxed. And I want to perform because I'm good at it and I relax and play, but maybe different for her. Yeah. I can't speak for myself, but I mean, in this point where is she in her career, do you think that if it was the reverse, would she?
No, I mean, I don't think so. I don't think.
But as I said, first,
being great enough. Great is a part of handling
pressure,
those type of pressures, and that's what makes an athlete great.
Yeah,
you have to. And Simone Biles come out saying that the weight of the world is on our shoulders. Who put the weight of the world on your shoulders?
Wait, hold on. For Naomi and Serena and those tennis players, do you think that the way they're treated in the sport in terms of the discrimination that they endure, Serena and Venus came up under a lot of racist fans and they've had to endure, and they always, if you look at how the media treats those women, it's very different. So they're always dodging, they always have to be defending extra stuff than other athletes. And then Simone Biles, she does have, she is so good, right? She's creating new moves that they're saying, okay, you can't do these moves because, well, other athletes will get hurt if they try it. And so she's getting point deduction. She's not being scored well because she's athletically superior. And so that's frustrating for her. And as somebody who is in the sport and wants to push boundaries, and so she feels like she's targeted, and whatever else comes with being in that sport, you know, you have to live.
I'm trying to imagine now.
But Serena did not quit, you know. Serena and they did not quit. That is why she's a great. Is a part of the sport.
Imagine Muhammad Ali pulling out. Muhammad Ali got you a lot.
15. Oh my God.
And that man is probably the great. I wasn't there on the time, but it's stuff I followed through. And Muhammad Ali was under in those times with racism being
black. The whole.
I mean, with the whole
Muslim and not going to war and
all of those stuff. And
yeah,
when that man go in the ring, that man make us realize that hey. And him talk the talk and him walk the walk. Yes, him lose fights and him go through him stuff, but he always wanted to go out there and perform. And he rose above all of that, and that's why now his name stand the test of time. So, I mean, to write your name in the, what some people are different, as I said, mentality is, it comes down
to mentality. Greatness is about mentality.
I think these ladies are great, and they can even be greater, but
yeah. I think
but self is first. So if they,
I'm not worried about it. I do believe that they just wanted to just show that, hey, look, you can't force me to do this. I don't want you to. I think it was political for them. I don't think that they couldn't handle it. So I'm not even worried about it. I think that if Naomi and Simone wants to get back in the game, they can.
I want to see them perform.
But
I like to see great athletes perform. I mean, you have so much a short window of your time in the sport. I don't like when athletes look back and be like, their career cut short. And it's not because of injury. But then again, mentality is a part of it, and mental health is a key thing in sports that a lot of athletes aren't able to express.
We have to kind of step out of this right now. What's going on with this Stephen Francis, Elaine Thompson thing with Elaine?
The whole drama that has unfolded in the week, because we're hearing.
Talk to us about that.
Yeah, what is your take? Because I'm guessing you have heard just as
about the whole.
Break it down first from you.
What? Break it down. Okay, so it was alleged that Elaine Thompson, Kira, sent a letter to the MVP contingency, indicating that she would be leaving the club, parting ways, and her future somewhere else. And so there's been reported that there were allegations that she was going to be coached by her husband, Darren Hira, and he's a coach at St. Jago, by the way, a sprint coach. Formerly with Cameron Blazers, that was run by Cameron. Yes. Yeah. So Elaine Thompson leaving MVP. In an interview, interestingly, Elaine Thompson came out and said they're just rumors, but people are still speculating. A lot of people still believe that she will not be there come October. Stephen Francis was interviewed. He says his philosophy is usually to wait and see, and she is scheduled to resume training after Heroes Weekend in October, which is coming up pretty shortly. So I think in about another 2 weeks or so, we will really hear what's happening. I tend to, as reasons for her leaving, there are a whole lot of speculations. A whole lot has been put out in the media. I don't want to be the ones to repeat it, but it's all out there already. Allegations of weapons involved. Confrontations.
Yeah, you didn't see those.
Oh yes.
Information.
Okay.
Yes, there's been a lot circulating, and
a lot of things said, but I said some can be rumors. We don't know the facts behind it. But
and what we have heard from many other sources. Well, even on the local channels, people came on TV saying that she's leaving. So. But
she herself said she's not leaving.
Yeah. So. I mean. And Stephen made a comment about as the athletes, they get, when they come from nothing to something, as soon as they blow up, they tend to
And
When they
just
come from a background with low expectations, as in not much was expected of them. Not not
kind of factual in a sense.
Is there any truth to that? Because you were a part of the camp back in your days, right?
Yes, I was. But you really can just look at the athletes who have left over the years and the reasons they have given for leaving. I think that's what he's using to make those inferences or statements.
Some of those reasons why the athletes say they left the camp.
Is he who is Stephen Francis? How is he as a coach? Is he a reasonable person, easygoing? Tell us a little about Stephen, because you were under Stephen Francis coaching back in your time.
So funny enough, I think that in the media he does get a bad rep for most people, but he's a pretty reasonable and straightforward person. And you know, I tell people all the time that if you need to get something done, or you know, based on the coaching staff, people might think that he's the one that they should avoid going to, but they have a better chance. They have a better chance of getting leniency and getting help if they go directly to Coach Francis versus anybody else on staff. Let's just leave it at that.
Okay, yeah, because we hold Stephen. I think Stephen is the best in the world, you know. So
maybe of all time.
Yeah,
I mean, the record speaks for itself, and the type of athletes he produces, their backgrounds, as he said, and all across many disciplines. But the trend is athletes eventually leave, and there must be reason to that. If Elaine leave, she wouldn't be the first. And
she wouldn't be the first, and I think that there's a lot of talk about finances and the percentage and all of that. And I think, you know, you've seen time and time again where athletes, when they were inexperienced and they come up in a system and whatever, you know, whatever that they used to do, they get exposed, they see, well, different situations, and they realize they could be making more here or doing this differently there, and so they want that, and they're at a level now where they are, you know, they're top class elite athletes, and they feel like they deserve certain things, and MVP does things a certain way, and they're not going to change. So it's either, do I stay here? I'm on this level now. Do I stay here and tolerate and work with this, or do I go somewhere else and get what I want? So I feel like even though we a lot of us as outsiders looking in, fans, we want to see them.
We're getting a call. Hold on a second. Sorry for that interruption. Phones tend to be busy at sometimes. Hello, good afternoon. Welcome to Primal Sports.
All right, can you hear me?
Yeah, we're hearing you.
Good afternoon. This is Shane, aka the Cunning One.
Okay. Cunning, what's up this week?
I would like to say that everything that Miss Dowie has said since she has come on, I agree 100%, 1,000% on every topic so far.
Wow.
That means you don't agree with us sometimes then.
I agree with a lot of what you're saying.
But not all. You said you agree with all, as what she said. So.
Yeah, man, everything that's said.
You have a fun, Miss Dowie.
Yes, thank you.
When we have time to discuss this Osaka and Simone Biles thing.
All right.
Controversy, man, I go hard.
Yeah, which is right. I mean, that he's talk it as it is. That's him. That's how he sees it. But what's your take on it?
Well, no, another day. When we have time on this,
because
two things I wanted to touch on. One, in terms of Elaine thing, as I said, I think Daniel covered it, is a balance between the finances and as well as you reach a certain point in a career and expose to different experiences, you might need or want something different. So I think that is where all of this is coming from.
So but I mean, that means when you reach the top, then you forget the road you came from.
I would look at it that way, there. Not forgetting it. To me, I think when you reach a certain stature, etc. For example, when we watch team sports and we discuss like football, basketball, etc., you don't treat the star on the team, no matter what. There's no equality in sports. You don't treat the star the same way as.
There's no equality in life. Yeah.
Just Belichick and Tom Brady. That's the only odd one that right here.
Exactly. And what has happened? Brady leave.
Yes.
That is a perfect metaphor.
Yes, I agree.
But then again,
you have some form of
it might be down to a money issue where the camp is getting more than she's willing to give up.
Not even that as well, just personally. Remember, Frana essentially contracted to Nike.
Yeah.
So even if she wants to shift to get better for herself, it might require shifting from Nike. So even if she wanted to continue with Frana, it might just become a choice of the money.
Yeah, but then again, all this coming out in the public, it seems more than that. Just a shift to.
The issue is though, fine. I agree that you see a lot of posts on Facebook and things are that different. But say we just work with what she has said and what Frana said. It's really Frana. Yeah. Frana probably jumped the gun. Frana probably didn't know what she was going to say in the media, and he said what he said. So Frana kind of jumped the gun. I believe him. But at the same time, he probably jumped the gun. So it has become more controversial because of what he said before she spoke.
Well, I try to look at it from everybody's angle, and I'm saying, what if I was the coach and I so-called pick athletes that have a low expectation? For example, just a group of athletes, and then they are contracted to me, and then when that contract ends and these athletes are at the top of their game, they want to leave. What do I do?
Really and truly doing now. All right, when you say top of the game and leave, it's really just now Shelly and Elaine, and the circumstances might be different. Yeah. Remember, I saw for them leave under a cloud of don't parry this doctor, etc. So it's not the same.
Yeah.
It's not the same. So it's really Shelly and Elaine, and perhaps Elaine was a part of why Shelly leave in terms of the balance. And I think the whole thing might just be because Frank said all of it might surround the balance of how much attention everybody gets from the coach. And that also might be another elephant in the room.
But I'm saying what makes it reach this point? I mean, it wasn't at this point you're there for 15 years, and for the first 14 years, that wasn't the case. Why it reached this point at the 15th year, at the 15th hour, when people are...
Well, I think you're...
With Osaka about if she was lower in the game. That's not a fair hypothetical. The pressure higher when you're at the top. That Elaine wouldn't have the leverage of now.
I think this coming week, more will come out about it.
Definitely.
I think this coming week, more will come about the whole Elaine situation at MVP. More information. And next week's show,
we're gonna have to run now.
We'll definitely talk more about on this topic because we're running out of time, Colin one. I mean, you always give some testing points, and I said we need to dedicate a show where we talk about the Osaka issue and everything.
Yes, Colin one.
Yeah, you need to look on the table tennis executive. Well, we're campaigning.
All right, no problem.
He's in that stage now. I'm the youngest veteran, and he's
the whole less. All right, thank you very much, though, Shane. Thank you very much. Call in a little earlier next week now, so we can have a good discussion.
I don't want to interrupt Miss Dowie. Miss Dowie was doing a very good job.
All right. Thank you.
Wrap up with Miss Dowie now. Respect, Colin one.
All right.
All right. Thank you.
Yes, Daniel.
I don't even know where I was.
So, yeah, I mean, but...
He did make a good point about the leverage that she has now, and I think it's not a case of issues now just arising. I think that these relation differences have been there, and people speculate that Shelly-Ann left because of attention and focus and split. Once you reach a certain level, and again, a lot of these women are competitors, so they're elites and their main rival is training right next to them. And again, Stephen Francis says time and time again, he does not believe that he needs to make you train by yourself. You're going to compete in practice. And so some people don't want to have to deal with that type of stuff when they get to a certain level. And now that she is Miss 1054, her leverage has increased. So she feels like she needs more And, you know, most people
But
will
it's like bigger than she know. It might seem like she's bigger than the thing I know.
Yeah.
It might have that look, but as an athlete, I know what you're
Well,
saying.
you don't have to look at it that way. It's like she wants something different and they don't offer that. Do you stay or go?
Sorry to break it. We're out of time again.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
We're going to extend the show. We're trying to
That's
get more
okay.
juicy topics as usual.
Always respect your coach, right? That's my thing. But we'll talk next week.
We'll talk
all right.
next week.
Thank you for coming on, Daniel.
All right, thanks, Daniel.
Thank
All
you
right.
for having me.
Another sports talk.
Yeah, I mean, time flies.
Yeah.
I mean, I always touch the topics, but be for sure we'll be here again next week. I mean, feel free to call. And one love from Primal Sports Center.
All right.
Thanks for tuning in.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.